Hi everyone, this is Sonila from Mediterranean Latin loveaffair.com food blog. I was born in Albania and my grandparents are from the north, from Kosovo, and my other set of grandparents from the south, from the city of Gjirokastra. So I often get their recipes and what I learned growing up and update it and try to cook those recipes for my kids that are growing up here in Florida. So today I want to share with you this recipe made with pastry and filled with a ground beef mixture. It's like puff pastry bites. They're so easy to eat, like you can serve them for a meal, you can serve them as a snack, you can even put them in the kids' lunch boxes. This recipe is known differently as Manti around the Balkan area, and the recipes are different varying on the region, on the country, and I also made some adaptations so it can fit my lifestyle, but the basic recipe is the Manti recipe. So I use puff pastry that I buy at Whole Foods for this recipe. You can make puff pastry from scratch. This is what we used to do back home. But in this case, I'm trying to cook something fast and delicious. So I love buying the Whole Foods puff pastry for this recipe. I start by browning the ground beef, about a pound of ground beef and 2 large onions. So I start browning the beef first, breaking it apart with a wooden spoon, then I add the onion to it and I continue cooking it until the onion becomes translucent, it starts cooking down. I add a little bit of olive oil to it, so it creates the crisp edges on the ground beef, and then slowly I start seasoning. I add about 1 tablespoon of sea salt. I love using sea salt, Mediterranean sea salt if you can find it. Then I add lots of black pepper. I add paprika. My grandma used to call it biber, like with B. The normal Albanian one was piper with P, but she used to call it biber. So I think that's like leftover from the Turkish influence in our country. And then I do add a little bit of oregano and tomato sauce, and I think that's where the difference comes from the original recipe. The original recipe doesn't have oregano and tomato sauce, but I love adding those 2 ingredients. I feel it makes the recipe much better. The puff pastry bites are a little bit softer and they handle being stored in the refrigerator for a few days if you get leftovers. So once you're done preparing the filling, I put some olive oil on the baking dish where I'm going to bake the puff pastry bites. I had put the puff pastry sheets on the counter to thaw, so you have to make sure they thaw properly, otherwise the sheets will be a little bit too dry and they will break, like mine did break here because I was being a little bit impatient and tried to unroll it before they were properly thawed. But the other sheets I used later on, they were perfectly thawed, so everything worked out at the end. So I cut, I'm going to use 3 sheets. So each package comes with 2 of them. So basically I use a full package and then half of another one. I cut each of the sheets in 12 rectangles. And then on the rectangles you put about 1 tablespoon of the filling, and then you roll it like an envelope, like you fold 2 of the corners and then the other 2, and then you roll it a little bit. So I'll show you this a couple of times, so hopefully it makes it easy how you can fold the corners. The puff pastry square is pretty pliable at this point, so it's very easy to just fold the 2 angles, like the 2 corners, and then you fold the other 2, and then kind of roll it a little bit and then turn it upside down and you put it on the baking sheet. So I like using a round baking sheet for this. I'll put a link in the description so you can easily find it. And this reminds me how my grandma used to bake this puff pastry bites. She used to roll the puff pastry on her own in layers. So basically I created all the bites, rolled them, put them in circles around on the baking dish, and then at the end we'll brush the puff pastry bites with lots of butter, This will make them bake to perfection, to golden brown color, and they'll also be flaky and taste delicious. I bake the puff pastry bites at 400 degrees Fahrenheit until they're golden brown and looking like this. And personally, I love serving them with a little bit of tzatziki sauce. But you can choose any yogurt-based dip. In Albania, we also serve them with tarator, which is like a yogurt cold soup. Or you can serve them with a salad, and they're perfect for any occasion. I hope you get to try them because they're really delicious, and you can use any filling of your choice. Don't be afraid to try different variations of the recipe. They all turn out amazing anyway. If you have any questions, let me know in comments, and thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate it.